For this problem, we need to match the graph on the right-hand side with one of the following functions a through h given below. There are a couple of things I want to point out before we get started. The first one is that our graph goes through the ordered pair x is 0 and y is 5. The second one is that 5 to the x has to be the basis for one of our graphs. So we're going to use the basic function y equals 5 to the x plus a plus h, where a and h are our horizontal shift and our vertical shift respectively. So to get started, also to pay attention to the fact that our horizontal asymptote here is along y equals 0. That means that we must have no vertical shift for the graph, as the basic graph 5 to the x would look something like this, where this is 1, this is our horizontal asymptote, and we would have y equals 5 to the x. So we must have no vertical shift for the graph because the horizontal asymptote would have changed. So h must be equal to 0. Okay, so that leaves us with y equals 5 to the x plus a. The second thing I want to take a look at is if there are any reflections here. Since y equals 5 to the x goes up to the right-hand side and gets close to 0 on the left-hand side, but the graph that we're looking at does the opposite, that's a reflection around the y-axis. That's a reflection around the y-axis, which means that our graph must have a negative next to the x. So reflections around the y-axis are shown with negatives next to the x. That's because all of our positive x's over here turned into negative x's, and all of the negative x's over here turned into positive x's. So it reflects around the y-axis. The last thing to look at is what our horizontal shift is, a. Since we can tell that our basic function y equals 5 to the x should go through the ordered pair here, x is 0 and y is 1, but our graph that we're looking for goes through the ordered pair x is 0 and y is 5, it looks like we do have some kind of horizontal shift. I think the easiest way to figure out what that is to take x is 0 and y is 5 and plug them in for x and y into our equation down here. So we would have 5 equals 5 to the negative 0 plus a, and now we can try to solve for a. So this would give us 5 equals 5 to the a. That means that a is equal to 1. Okay, so using that information with the reflection we already have, we have the following equation for our graph. Y equals 5 to the negative x plus 1. So I do see that reflected up here, although I think it's written instead as this one, y equals 5 to the 1 minus x. So our answer must be, our answer must be G.